Hi there, I'm Neil from Gamify, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to customize your very first game using Gizmo. Hi there guys, thanks again for signing up for Gizmo. Like I said in the intro, in this short video, I'm going to show you how to create your first campaign from start to end. So let's get started. If you've signed in already, what you'll see is this dashboard. If you haven't created any campaigns yet, you won't see any campaigns pop up here. All this stuff will be blank. I've got a whole bunch of campaigns running, so you can see I've got a few things showing. What you want to do is hit this pink button here called Create New Campaign. You'll then be taken to the game library where you can select and test all the games to see which one you want to get started with. I know which one I want to get started with, and it's called Kite Kittens. I love this game. It's super simple. It gives you a lot of option for customization, and it's just super fun to play as well. On this screen here, you'll get to actually play the game before jumping in and creating a campaign. So give it a little bit of a play, give it a test, make sure it meets your needs. I already know what I'm about to do, so I'm going to click on Continue in the top right. You'll then be taken to the campaign details stage of campaign creation. This is where essentially you name the game, you give it a bit of an identity, you add your quiz, your user submission, and also the leaderboard. You can spend as much time as you need on this page because it is really important. And so let's get started with that. In the campaign name, I'm going to call it Mad Shopper. And I'm just going to give it a number because I've created a test before. And then I'm going to give it a start date and an end date. You want to really make sure you get these dates correct in case you're creating a campaign for a customer. For example, if you create a game that starts today, for example, but the customer only wants the game to start next week, it's going to be incorrect. So this is where you can schedule when the game starts and when the campaign ends. Super important. It's worth giving it a bit of time just to think. So today I'm going to actually start it today. And then I'm going to have it end in just about a week, so 27th. Cool. Whilst you're creating your campaign, leave it in testing campaign for now. That way, everything is categorized, so you don't have a game that's maybe not finished or approved sitting in the approved section and the live campaign section. Leave it in testing campaign. For now, leave it as your name. Right now, I've just got my own name and the ownership. You can always change that to the brand owner or change it to another staff member on your team. And this is where you give your game a top-level domain name. I'm going to call mine Mad Shopper. Cool. And I'm going to choose the private Gamify domain. Pop in either your customer logo here or your brand logo. That will show up on things like the user submission form and the leaderboard. I'm going to leave mine blank for today, just for the sake of moving forward. You can then add a quiz at the end of the gameplay. This is really useful if you might have a hard game, and so it really gives all of your customers the opportunity to either double or triple their points based on their knowledge of your product or their brand. It's really useful if you are maybe wanting to, make the game necessarily just being a fun thing to do, and then using maybe a quiz at the end to do a bit of education or to learn a little bit more about your audience. This is the perfect place to do it. So you can then go in and give your game a quiz. Today, I'm going to disable it, but what you would do if you would want to create a quiz is you give it a name, give it a qualifying score. So you might have something like 25% of your customers will be given a quiz. And then what effect does it have on the leaderboard? Like I said earlier, double or triple the score. And then in what manner do you want the quiz questions to be displayed? In random or in order? You can have up to 20 questions. What I would suggest is load as many questions as you want in there, and then just select 3 and random. Because then what will happen is you might have a catalog of 15, 20 questions, but your customers will only ever see random 3 questions at a time, and it just limits any cheating or gaining too much knowledge for the quiz for them to get more points. You then drop down, pop your question in, multiple choice, and then choose which answers you have. You can have up to 3 answers, and you can add more down here, but generally just have 2. true or false, or answer here, and choose which one's correct. Use the star icon to choose which one is correct for the admin. Like I said, I'm not going to use a quiz today. Then you jump into user submission. This is really, really useful. So you can use this area. This is what you will use to capture user information. And what you can do is you can either put the CTA, call to action, before the gameplay or following the gameplay. I'm going to have it as following, and then you can choose which fields of information you want to collect. By default, it's default by display name and email address. I'm going to leave that as it is, and I'm just going to choose this little button here called Reject Duplicates. That's really useful because you don't want to get the same information multiple times. Really useful information as well. In case you're doing an internal game or a B2B game, you can use company name. If you choose company name, we've had instances in the past where customers may want to display the names by company, and then that can kind of cause a little bit of competition between companies, which is really fun. Again, you can choose to reject those duplicates. On this little button over here, show brand logo, that will then query the brand logo that you've updated up here. And then you want to pop in your opt-in message. This is just really useful for things like privacy and making sure that your T's and C's are correct, especially if you have a bit more of a secure client or you just have some criteria to tick off. Then you jump in and you can design the way your submission looks, your form. You can rotate this preview so that you can see what it's going to look like on desktop or mobile. And what you can do is we give you the information here as to what this background dimension should be, what format it should be, and what's the max file size. Go ahead and design what you want, upload it here. If you don't like what you made, it's all good. You can always remove it and try again, or reach out to us and maybe we can help you out with the design. Then we jump into Leaderboard. This is super fun as well. You can choose, again, show brand logo. You can then choose the number of top scores displayed on your leaderboard. You might be running a purely mobile campaign, so you might not want 25 names always displayed on that leaderboard, and you might want to produce a lot more competition. So the lower the better. I generally go with 5 or 10, but if you're running a really long campaign, 25 is fine, 20 is fine as well. Yeah. You can then add in a custom leaderboard link. In the same way that you have a TLD, top-level domain name for your game, you can actually iframe and host the leaderboard isolated on a website, so that you might want to run the leaderboard just to be running on your homepage, just to cause a bit of competition. Go ahead and name it, and then choose the domain that you want it to sit under. So again, private Gamify. In the same way that you designed the user submission, you can design the background of your leaderboard. Rotate that view to see how it looks, and upload your own design. Again, if you don't like what you've made, just remove it. There's all these default backgrounds and stuff that look pretty cool. And if you want something designed, reach out to Gamify and we'll help you out. Cool. What you then have down here is the end screen. So this is super useful if you want to have a game that's going to be shared quite a lot, or you anticipate that's going to be shared quite a lot across social channels. So here's where you would design, and again, we'll give you the dimensions, design how that looks. So if a player goes and shares your game, how's it going to look on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn? You want to make sure that's got a really cool design that reflects your company or brand. You can then do a pre-fill. So if you're sharing to Twitter, if you're allowing that, you can pre-fill a tweet, which is super cool. Down here, you can select which social medias you want available for sharing. By default, LinkedIn is hidden, just because not everybody uses LinkedIn, and it's quite a business to business, professional to professional social media. If you do want it, just untick it, and it'll be displayed. And you can see that all changing live in the preview below. Cool. If you don't want any social media shares, just go ahead and hide them. No stress. Down here as well, you can customize the way the buttons look, what fonts you want to use, what color the background is if you haven't done a custom design, what color the fonts, and what color are the buttons. Pretty cool. Once you're happy, click continue. Oh, looks like I've just got to pop in this, so Mad Shopper lead, and click continue. Let's give it a sec. Cool. Now this is where the fun stuff starts to happen, if you aren't having fun already. This is where the game is now loaded and it's divided up into all its sprites. Sprites are just a name for all the little visual elements you see in a game. So I'll use that word quite a bit in the next coming minutes, just so you know what it means. If you want to change just single assets, go ahead and just click on the sprites. If you want to change screen and then select and change singular sprites, you can go ahead and do that. Today though, I'm going to go ahead and select this button here, bulk download game assets. Give that a hit. We've also got this 1, 2, 3 instructions here in case I don't answer some of your questions in this video. Cool. Now you'll see that I've got a zip folder here. Before we open that, jump over to your desktop or wherever you want to keep this game folder and just create a new folder. I've created one on my desktop called Mad Shopper 01. And what you want to have in there is a game file folder, working, and export. This just keeps things nice and neat. And when it comes to exiting your browser and doing some customization, you don't want to lose track of your files. Navigate to your downloads folder, grab that zip, and just drag it over to your game file folder. Unzip it, and you'll see that we've got a whole bunch of things here. You're not going to change anything in this folder except for the images. If you open up the images folder, you'll see all the sprites loaded in one place. And just like you can in Gizmo, you can change just singular ones if you want. But today I'm going to open up most of them in Illustrator, which brings me to our next point. There are multiple programs that you can use to customize your game. You can use Illustrator, you can use Photoshop, or you can use the free resources out there on Google. GIMP is one that you can download. It's free. It's pretty useful. As long as you have something that can edit a PNG file and export. So I've gone ahead and created one earlier. So I'm going to jump over to Illustrator. Cool. You'll see here that there's a whole bunch of artboards. These aren't all the images that you've seen in the previous folder, but just the ones I want to change. So what I've done here, there's 2 rules. You want to create all the artboards to match the exact dimensions of the sprites that you're changing. You then want to also make sure that all the sprites match the same name as the original the original file. Once you've done your design, I've gone and, just here, if you can see, I've made a bit of a post-apocalyptic, a bit of a political fun game, just to kind of have a laugh. Once you're done doing that design, you want to then export your files. On a Mac, it's Command Option E, or you can go to File, Export, Export for Screens, and then you're given this dialog box. By default, all of your artboards are selected. You want to make sure that each of them are, again, named and matching the original sprites in which they're replacing. Keep them all selected. And then over in this pane here, make sure that your formats scale at 1 times and that you're using a PNG format. That's super important. If you use a JPEG one, it's going to have a white background. You then want to navigate to Export To. This is just telling Illustrator where to put those files. Just navigate to where you've created that folder that I was talking about. Cool. And then I've created in my working file an images folder. Let's navigate to that. What we're now going to do is we're going to grab all our new sprites and we're going to replace, in the original file, we're going to replace the sprites with our new ones. So let's jump over to our folder that we've created, head over to your images folder, highlight all the images you've created, copy, head to your original file, and don't worry if you get things wrong, you've always got the original zip right here. Head to your images file where all your sprites are sitting, your original sprites, highlight Command V or Control V on a Windows machine. You'll then want to apply to all, replace. Cool. Now all the sprites that you've customized are sitting in that original file, and all the ones you haven't are still there. So you've got a mixture of original and customized. Cool. What you then want to do, and this is an important step, is in your game folder, highlight all of these files here, and then right click and compress. Cool. You'll have a compression file called archive.zip. Rename that to whatever you want. It does not have to match the original. I'm going to call mine Mad Shopper Draft 01. That way, if I want to make changes, I can go back and see how many drafts I've got based on the number. Now that I've got that zip, I'm going to navigate back to Gizmo. I'm going to then, underneath that button that we clicked a little while back, I'm going to hit upload game assets.zip. Navigate to where your new zip is located. I know that mine is sitting right here. Mad Shopper underscore draft underscore 01. Hit enter. That's now uploading all those new elements. What it's doing now is it's actually rewriting the original game, and in a moment you'll see the new game loaded and we'll be able to preview it and play it. Shouldn't take too long. It's usually about 30 seconds or so. So make yourself comfortable. Cool. You'll get a little notification here. Uploading of game files was successful. Go ahead and preview your game. Make sure it's what you wanted. You'll see that my new design looks completely different to the original game. It's a lot grungier, a bit of fun, a bit political, a bit current. We're just having fun at the end of the day. So you can also rotate that screen. This game is not a landscape game, so you'll see that little screen pop up. If you're happy, close that dialog and click continue. Cool. This is where you control the rewarding system for your game. We've designed it so you can do it in 3 different ways. You can use a beat top score, and you will then choose what score somebody needs to beat to win. You can do random, so it doesn't matter, upon what score someone gets, or you can do a combo. So you can do, what score does somebody have to beat, and also at random, let's reward some people. Cool. I'm going to choose beat top score. Give it a name. Let's do top score winner. You then want to control how many rewards you give out. I'm going to do just 1. And then if you've got a landing page or an external website where your reward is sitting, or maybe a redemption page, that's where you put your URL here. And then what's the minimum score to qualify? I'm going to do let's do 200. Cool. You can then give your reward an image design. We've given you the little outline here and what dimensions you need to create your design for. Once you're happy, click save. You can add another reward if you want. All the rewards you create will always update and sit in this right-hand pane. Once you're happy, click continue. This is a review and publish page. Cool. What you get is when your campaign is going to start and end, what rewards you have, and then just in the bottom here, hit the T's and C's and publish your game. Great. On the dashboard, you'll have your first game published. Congrats. Go ahead and hit that. And then you're given the game dashboard. Because I've just made this game live, it's obviously got no data because no one's played it, and it's not anywhere yet. But what you want to do is just iframe this URL, pop it on whatever website you have going, or share it with your clients. But you can always refer back to this page where you can analyze and track how the game is going. In the top menu up here, you can see the analytics at a top view. So things like total plays over time, total play time in minutes, game completion. This shows you the engagement rate of your game, how many unique players you've got. In this controls pane here, you can jump in and actually go through that whole process again in case you want to make some tweaks, or maybe the clients come back with some changes. You can pause the campaign, you can delete it, or if you just want to play the game, you can go ahead and do that. Jump into game if you want to see it in a little preview. If you need to edit your awards, you've got that right here. If you want to view your winners, that sits right here. View all your entries, sitting right here. And lastly, in the integrations tab, this is where you'll integrate your MailChimp API. So just to talk to that for a little bit, if you have a MailChimp or your client has a MailChimp account, you can pre-create those audiences. So you might have, for this example, Mad Shopper entries, Mad Shopper winners, and so 2 audiences. Then what you do is grab your API key from MailChimp, pop it in this little section here, and choose which audience you want to auto-populate. Click Save, and that audience will automatically populate for your retargeted marketing campaign. Cool. That's it, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If I didn't cover something that you're dying to know, please feel free to reach out to us. We always do our best to get back to you. Cool. Thanks so much, guys. And remember to have fun with it. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching this video. Stay tuned for weekly updates from us. If you found it helpful, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel.